enjoy our podcast today. Today, I actually have a very special friend with me today. And before I get into that, I want to really just talk about why we started this podcast. In all my business, my friendships, everything that I have a lot of great relationships, and I want to be able to share these relationships with everyone that's out there. And hopefully, from these podcasts that I've been doing, and for many more to come, you will learn. But today, I actually have a really good friend of mine. Met her not too long ago, but she's amazing, and you're gonna see why she's amazing shortly. So, everyone, welcome, Nancy from Nancy's Insurance. Thank you for being on, Nancy.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. I know we were supposed to have you last week, but
Yeah,
conflict of
something came
interest.
up.
Miguel was a
Overturned.
trooper. Miguel was a trooper and stepped in and said, "Hey, I'll do it." So it was
Thank you.
good.
Thank you, Miguel.
You're like, "Thanks, Miguel. I appreciate it." So one thing I want to talk about today, all right, and I want to we're gonna do a bunch of questions, and if everyone's listening live, you can ask questions in the commentary as you're commenting. We can actually answer them live for you. So this is the cool
Question.
thing.
Did
Yes.
you share this on Facebook or no? So I could share it too.
Yeah, it's going live right now on Facebook,
Oh,
actually, right
nice.
now.
On
Yeah, we're
your
live
on your account?
on my live account, yeah, on the Saul
Perfect.
Bejarano one. So
Perfect.
so we're going live right now. So we're excited about this. Okay. So Nancy, was supposed to be on last week, but she had an employee that was leaving. So Miguel stepped in, and it gave us more time. It gave me more time to ask you more questions now, Nancy. So you're screwed. Yeah, I had one more week of
No.
questions to ask, and now you're just, we're gonna talk about everything that I said I would never talk about: politics, religion, and vaccinations. No, I'm just kidding. We don't talk about that in this show. We don't talk about that in this show. People get too sensitive, and we're gonna go over
Right.
sensitivity today, especially in this market. So, Nancy, start off. Tell us about your company, and the services you provide for your clients.
So to make the long story short, I'm an insurance broker. You guys know me. My company is called Nancy's Insurance. I've been doing this for way too long, almost 15 years now. So, and my niche, I would say, is the trucking side because I love it so much. I like working with most of my clients are Latino, so my Latino community. I pretty much help them set up their LLCs, their trucking permits, their portion plates for them to. I just pretty much get them set up for them to start going on the road. So we also add like auto insurance and DMV services and, a little bit of everything.
Okay, so one question I have for you, right? You said you focus on the trucking, you do tags, you do property and casualty for this, personal lines. At what point, because this is what we're talking about today, at one point did you say I'm a badass Latina boss? Like, when did that happen? When you're like the first day when you said I'm gonna start my own company, or was it like a couple months? Like, when was your like moment where you're like I'm a boss now?
Well, I kind of just pretty much, I had to pretty much do it and I didn't have an option because that's the only option I had at the time. Long story short, I went through a breakup and I had to start working, right? So I just pretty much had no savings, literally less than $1,000 in my bank account. And I just pretty much started everything from scratch. And not too long ago, my DBA, I'm now a corporation, but my DBA is going to expire this year. So I was like, oh my God. And I kept on thinking, I've been in business for the past 3 years. And no, it's been 5 years. It's crazy. So I
Yeah,
guess at this point,
you're a badass boss when it's time to renew your. Most of you don't know DBAs take 5 years. It's a 5-year
yeah.
renewal, correct? So you've been a boss for 5 years, and you're like, oh crap, I have to redo my DBA. I will be honest with you. When I started the company in 2005, I had a DBA and I forgot to renew it. That's how busy I was. So that's a good
Yeah.
sign. When you forget those things, you're like, oh crap, now it's time to incorporate. So that's what you kind of deal with. So you know, I know that you work with truckers, and these are Google facts. I'm not that smart when it comes to these things, right? But 94% of truckers are males, right?
That's
And how or why would you choose an industry where it's male dominated? And it's one of those things where it's like the machismo thing, like, oh, I'm a trucker, I drive 18 reels and I go across country and blah, 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 blah. I don't know. I kudos to them. I can't do it. As most of you know, I posted a TGI Viernes a couple of months back. I drove from San Diego to Houston to help my buddy move. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how truckers do this. But you as a female, right? A Latina female, how did you say, I'm going to work in a male dominated industry and I'm going to be a boss about it. And I don't care about your machismo. I'm going to do it my way. When did that happen? Like, why?
Well, that's kind of my personality. I was kind of doing this. I remember I've been in this industry for the past 15 years, and I was working with somebody that was doing that already. So I guess my personality helps me a little bit. I'm very demanding, so muy mandona, and I just comes natural. So honestly, I just I don't know. I just enjoy it. It just comes naturally, honestly.
Mandona is a nice way of saying that you like to you're OCD and you want to control things. I get it. I'm in the same boat. I know that my dad says it all the time. He's like, you were talking when he talks to me. He's like, you were never meant to be taking orders from anyone. You're supposed to be the boss and coming up with new ideas and doing all these crazy things. So I totally get it. I totally relate. Right.
You know what's so cool as well, that most of, like you said, most of my clients are male, and they're much easier to deal with than with women, because I just tell them something and it is what it is. They don't really argue or tell me no, or it's just a smooth transaction all the time. So I think that's what helps me too. That's why I love it so much también.
And we already have some of your people already chiming in. So Jose
Hey.
Perez is saying, hey, good job, Nancy. And then he said, you are the best. So you know what? You being a mandona is paying off, you know.
It works out, right?
They're following you. They're like, yes, let's do this, you know. Yeah, we're always gonna listen to Nancy. So, you know, I know, you know, you're in the San Bernardino area, right? That's the area that you're in. It's primary Latino based. What are the biggest challenges that you face while building your business? I know we talked about it briefly right now when you said, hey, you know, I didn't have much money, but you had to do it. There was no other choice, right? But before we get into that, Nancy does have a son, so you know that also plays in play. Where I think women, when it comes to this, are like, I'm gonna do it because I have to feed my kid. Where some men, you know, los conocemos, los que no hacen los flojos, los que no hacen nada, los mantenidos, you know, they don't want to work. So you're like, nah, I got to do this. But what was that challenge when you're like, this is the challenge that the challenges that I faced doing this?
So repeat the question one more time. Sorry.
So what was the challenges that you faced that you were just what challenges did you face that just like the roadblocks that you had that you were just like, oh my God, I can't, you know, I got to do this. You know, what was the biggest challenge you faced while building your company?
Well, obviously people are always going to talk and say, oh, how are you going to do that? You know, always see people always talking, or the company sometimes not wanting to give you the appointments. When I started my business, I wanted to offer the auto side of the insurance. So literally I open, a lot of people want to open up their businesses, but they don't think about these things. So for example, I was without appointments for 8 months. And then Infinity started giving me appointments like a year later. So that's like something that you have to think about when you open up a business. But just little things like that. But honestly, it was hard. I'm not going to say it was easy. And it keeps on getting harder as you grow. But you just learn to go and learn and just put that shit in back of you.
You see, and you know what? Your story already hit home with Oswald Chavez. He said, that's crazy. I just came from a breakup, so I guess it's my cue to get going. Yeah, get off your ass, bro, and get to work. If Nancy can do it, you can do it, right? Right, Nancy? That's what we're working on. So
you have to. And if not, I can help you. I can open up your corporation.
And then Nancy can help you set up that LLC, that S, the C, whatever you got to set up. She can help you set up. So, you know, your company is growing, and from me looking from the outside in, right? It seems like tú tienes una visión. You have a vision. You're not gonna deviate. You have a pace that you want to go with. You have tunnel vision, right? And reminds me, and this is a funny story. It's like I use this analogy. It's like when you go to the races and you see those horses just, you know, with the blinders. Yeah. It just seems like that's how you're rolling. Like, is that part of what your mentality, or is it just kind of just the way it happened? Because and before you answer that, there's a lot of other business owners that will expand and try to do 14,000 things at once, and then they suck at all of them, right? So to me, it seems like you have a vision, you have a passion, and you're like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to perfect it, and then grow. Is that how it started, or just kind of how it worked out?
I think it's just kind of how it worked out, because I'm not organized at all. It might seem like, oh, you know, she's got it going on, she's perfect, you know, no, and nobody's teaching me. Like I tell my employees all the time, you know, I'm learning to be a boss. You know, it's kind of hard sometimes because I'm such a perfectionist, and I try to do everything my way, my certain way, but I'm such a control freak, and I have to let go of that a little bit because I do want to expand, like you said. But just I don't know. I just pretty much have a bozal, like you say, and just
Yes.
have a vision and just have a. I put goals to myself for like for example, I just told myself in 10 years I want to own 3 homes.
Oh wow.
So I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I like to work like that. So I know that things are tangible. So in 10 years, I'm pretty sure I could do it. So and then next year I want to open up another office in Long Beach. So little goals like that, and I just work and work and work. It's a passion to me, dude. Honestly, I love to work, and I just love being in the office. My boyfriend, sometimes I tell him, dude, it's Sunday and I have nothing to do. I wish I was at the office. And then when I'm there, I love it. I don't know why.
Nice. Well, here, Mr. Chavez here said, I always wanted to start my own business. Hey, you know what? There's no time like the present because, nothing's guaranteed tomorrow. And I
Right.
know we're in the middle of the pandemic. Oswald, but it's time, dude. Like, trust me. It just one day I woke up and I said, I don't want to be someone else's, employee. I want to do
Yeah.
something for myself, right? He also said, he has that same mindset. So you have that mindset, I think, is the most important thing when it comes to being successful. As you mentioned right now, you have I do the same thing. I put a number on the wall. Well, I used to do it in the wall, and then I figure out, like, reverse figure out how to get to those goals. Now I just have it in my head because I've been doing this so long, and
Yeah.
I'm like, I have a number. I got to do this, and in order for me to do this, need this many appointments. I need many new agents. I need this, this, and this, and then it just kind of after that, just start grinding. Right? You just go
Yeah.
at it.
You get motivated and you start seeing
Yeah,
the fruits of the crop. So
yeah.
yeah.
It starts working out, and then right here we have Mr. Jose Perez. Says in his experience, Nancy is the best. So you always make it easy for them to get their stuff
Ay,
done.
muchas
You make it
gracias, Jose.
rápido y se los
En
recomienda a todos.
caliente.
Y
That I
en
think that's what
rápido,
helps
en
me.
chinga, dice, en chinga se hace
En
todo.
chinga. Fíjate que that's one of the things that I think helps me because my dad raised me, he had a business and he always told me, you don't want to be working for nobody else, quieres ser tu propia jefe. Y pues obviamente, like I said, me ayuda mucho mi personalidad, pero siempre quiero hacer las cosas en chinga. So I think that's why I get some of my anxiety because I always want to control everything. Y siempre en cuanto me hablan, dude, I had 4 or 5 day weekend and I had like 32 text messages and I had to go over them and call them a cada rato and taking calls and I just hate having pendings or
Yeah, no, it happens. Trust me, I'm in the same boat. We'll touch on this later, but on what you do to release, to balance yourself. But for me personally, I learned a long time ago that I work 3 months straight, and I will work 3 months straight, and then I will take a week off. And usually I'm
yeah,
in Loreto, or Cabo, or
that helps.
somewhere nice in Mexico, and I'm drinking tequila at 10 o'clock in the morning, and I don't care what
Yeah,
people think about me.
mimosas.
And I'm like, girl, but mimosas, I don't drink that. I go straight to the bottom. Like, even at the bottom, the people know, they're like, we go to the same place, our place in Loreto. The guy's like, "Saul, you bring your bottle?" I'm like, "Yep, I have my bottle. I just need ice and some lemons." And then they're like, "You need more ice?" I'm like, "Yep, I already have my bottle." I'm like, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. My kids are like still waking up, cleaning the lagañas out, and I'm like already drunk at 12. So it's just what it is.
Yeah, we all need that.
Yeah, right. Sometimes you need that. Now, Oswald also saying he's like, he wants to go through this, but it's a learning curve. Every business has a learning curve. Just so we're clear on this, right? Every business has a learning curve. And you need to have a solid mentor or a driver vision to help you with that. Do you have, and this is a question I didn't even come up with, I just came up off the top of my dome right here. Do you have a mentor that you look up to and say, hey, you know what, when I have something, se me atora un pedo o algo así, do you have someone that you're like, oh, I got to reach out to someone, or someone you talk to about
I'm
this?
gonna be very honest with you. I don't, but I call you when I have issues because I look up to you so much because te lo sabes todo. So, I've talked to you sometimes when I have an issue going on or when I want to do something, but I've noticed that, yeah, I'm doing a lot right now, but I want to have like what is that, like a business coach?
Yeah.
We could always do more, right? For example, I would want to start losing weight or, I'm very comfortable in my sales right now, but we should do more, So I think I'm going to start looking into getting a business coach or something like that because I need to do better, I think.
You know what? I think one thing is important as a business owner. You have to realize that sometimes you have to have someone else help you with certain things, right?
Yes,
Now, for
yes.
me personally, I have a marketing person that I depend on a lot of things that I'm not comfortable with, right? The podcasts, different things that I do that I just not my cup of tea, right? There's some things I just don't want to do, and so I have people that I depend on it. When I started my social media, I started social media late in 2016, so I didn't know. I'm learning as I go, and I had to have someone. I had to be a part of a team, and as a business owner, you have to say, I need help, right? And if I want to get
you
to the
have
next
to learn how
level,
to
I want to.
delegate.
Hey, here's the thing, Tom Brady just won his seventh, Super Bowl, whatever. How many cheated? There's an asterisk there because some cheat ones on there. But it took the coach, it took the trainer, it took the head coach, it took his, yoga instructor, because I know he does yoga. It took his Pilates, because he probably does Pilates with Giselle naked or in a hot room or something. I don't know what he does, right? And then he's got his, his food coach, all these different things. It takes a lot of people to get to the next level. So that is important, right? We
That
got
was
another.
something very sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. What are you saying?
That was something very hard for me because I'm like I said, I'm such a control freak, and it took me like 3 years to learn how to delegate because I said, okay, if I do it, yo sé que lo voy a hacer bien, ya voy a tener más trabajo, but I'm gonna do it right. As opposed to giving it to my assistant, he's probably gonna fuck up once or twice.
Yeah.
Just rather do it myself and get it over with. But dude, I was getting so stressed. I was getting panic attacks, left and right, and when I would leave, because I like to travel too, I leave once a month to Mexico or to wherever I want to go. And I would still bring my phone and still be working. So I would never get that break. So that's something that was really hard for me. But it has helped me a lot because now I'm focusing on other important things. I started with one employee. She just left last Tuesday. Unfortunately, she wants to focus in school, which is fine. And now I have like 6 or 7 employees. I'm like, oh my God. So I must be
Yeah.
doing something right?
You're doing something right, that's for sure. And then we have Osvaldo Hernandez here, says Nancy is the best. She's always wants the best for her clients and employees. She goes the extra mile for everyone. That's a good thing, right? When people are saying that about you, that's important. That's
Thank you so much, Osvaldo.
Yeah, that's a big one. So now, when you're when you're looking at a business, right? And I know for my business, it's a male dominated business. In the insurance, life insurance brokerage side, it's all white male owners over age 70.
Intimidating.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's not even intimidating. It's just, there's roadblocks, right?
Yeah.
For you as a business owner, right, that started your business and is growing your business, do you get more support from female business boss ladies or male bosses? How does that work? Because I know in my situation it's a little bit different, but how does that work in you being, that I'm not a female? I don't see that. How does that work for you?
I think I've always gotten along more with like males. I don't have a lot of friends as it is. Me, I'm such an introvert. I don't like to go out at all, but I think guys are more supportive in a way. I don't know why that is. But
so we had this conversation. You can say it. It's cool. Some people sometimes women are haters. It's like men. There's haters.
And I don't know why, dude, but I'm cool. I'm cool as fuck. I always try to help everybody. Some people just I don't know what's up with them, but
some people just have negativity. To be honest with you, some people are just negative.
Or some people pretend to help you or want to help you, but they don't. They don't want you to do better than them.
And it's always comes down to, if I'm helping you, what are you going to do for me?
Yeah,
it's
what am I going to
get
out of
that thing, right? Like when you call me, true story, you call me, you ask me, I don't know crap about PNC, right? But you're asking me general questions about business, and I know business. So if it's something that you're dealing with,
cool dude, so you're cool.
Thank you. So if it's something that has to do with business, how to deal with, a staff, how to motivate staff, how to drive your numbers. Yeah. I'm a numbers guy, right? I can tell you how to build a business. I can tell you how to maintain
solutions quick.
Correct.
No, that's what my I was like, oh, no. You just go straight to the point. That's what I like.
I don't have time for that. I'm too busy. Oswald says you need to open up an office in San Fernando Valley. There, he says he wants to start a business. So here,
we could process everything over the phone. That's another cool thing about me. I like to be innovative and try to, help my clients. Either if it's gonna take FaceTime or if I'm in LA and you want to meet me, let's link up and we'll get it done.
Nice. Well, and it's a funny part here, and we talked about this earlier, right? Time is money, right? So you don't spend. I know for a fact that you're straight to the point. You see something, you say this is what it's gonna be, and you chingas. A la urgencia, porque si no, no se hace las cosas, So that's one of those things where I think as a business owner, you touched on a couple of things earlier, right? You have to learn how to let go, how to multiply what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
You know how to do your business, but you need to be able to let go, which you're learning. We're working on that,
Yes.
right? You and I've had conversations about this. But to be more successful, you have to learn how to duplicate yourself. And
Right.
by having that vision and not going all crazy in 30,000 different ways and, all over the place, it makes it easier for you to actually grow because, you're not teaching one person 15 different things. You're teaching that one person 2 or 3 things. Now, they do it wrong the first time, shame on them. Second time, shame on you. Third time, you're going to be fired, kind of a thing,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's how you look at it as business, right? You got to get going. So
That's true.
yeah, so that's a big one. And like I said, Eduardo said time is money. And yes, you're right. Time is money. That's why we're talking about this, trying to this podcast was specifically designed to help people like Oswaldo, like other people that are self-employed that want or not self-employed, that just tired of being someone's bitch, being honest, and want to actually work, right? Want to actually go and make the money for themselves, to actually go out and say, hey, I'm worth X. I'm not worth L. I'm worth X or Z. And what do I got to do to get there? And
Yeah.
here's the thing. I used to have a business partner that she would say this all the time. The world needs ditch diggers. There's always going to be people that need to be, doing at the bottom. There's some people that are just never meant to be self-employed.
And they like it like that too.
They like it. True story. My wife is one of those that she wants to make sure she's got an hourly check every single, when she worked. She wants an hourly. Why? Because she just wants that solid dependability, right? She was a manager at CVS, and then she got tired of CVS, and she's like, "Screw it, I'm out." So it was like, boom, she quit, and now she realizes, like, oh crap, like you make this much doing this. I'm like, because now she helps me with the business, and I'm like, yeah, this is how it was supposed to work. It's a team effort. So
Right.
it's just trying to figure these things out. Now let's talk about branding. You said you were innovative. You do everything over the phone, everything else. How has branding affected you during pre-COVID, like before the COVID started, during COVID, and how do you see yourself changing after COVID? Now, I will mention this, and everyone that knows this, if you start looking at Nancy's videos, start looking at her TikTok videos. They're hilarious. You want to check those out. I personally have not gotten to TikTok yet because I think I will do like.
You should.
I was testing this thing the other day. I wasn't gonna use my pecs because I work out. I was gonna use my pecs as like beats, like just focus, just do like the bass. But I'm like, nah, that's just too weird. But that was my thought. I was like, that'd just be funny. But
do it.
Yeah, but what is the one branding thing that you're doing that you see happening? I know we just mentioned TikTok, but you're innovative, you're making changes, you're doing everything over the phone. What is that working for you?
Well, I've always been I started doing videos with my phone about 10 years ago. My whack ass videos, people would say, girl, invest in your commercials. But at that time, nobody was doing them, and I was getting a lot of sales. And through that, I mean, a lot of people started noticing me, but I started my branding. Well, purple is my color,
Yeah. I was going to touch on that. Purple is definitely your color. Everything's purple.
Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, you're that girl with the purple hair, So doing that. And then the only thing that I would say after COVID would be to get out more, like in videos. I don't like coming out in videos, like, that, but I need to start pushing myself because I do need to, obviously, I want people to see or know who I am, right? So I have to get out of my comfort zone. So that's something that I definitely started doing. But everything else I was always doing. I'm very flexible with clients. I like to tell them that, like I told my client, the excuse, oh, no tengo tiempo para ir para allá. No importa. If you're a closer, like I'm a closer, like I told you, I'm so confident that I'm a 98% closer. What does it take for me to get that deal, So most of the time we do everything over the phone. I have clients in, everywhere, all 48 states, Texas, Canada.
Canada,
so
international.
Most of my clients, I would say that 70% of my clients, they've been with me for the past 6, 7, 8 years, and I've never met them in person, but they're still with me because, I make everything so simple for them.
And that's a funny thing that you touched on that, because we actually just recently did a webinar a couple of weeks. I did one last week, actually. We're talking about the mentality of how COVID has affected people's purchasing power online, right? And I actually did this presentation last week specifically on buyer mentality, post COVID. And
Right.
this is meaning how it's going to change in the future, right?
Mhm.
So we all know that Amazon, Instacart, Walmart, they're the big, we know them. You can buy your groceries, everything else. And 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 the study that they did actually looked back to the last 200 years and how certain things have changed, right? In 9 months, from COVID, when the COVID situation started to, December-ish, whenever, we did the study, in 9 months, online sales jumped between 6 and 10%.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you look at that over the past study, it would have taken 10 to 15 years to actually reach that change, but COVID just completely switched that on us, right?
Yeah.
The study actually also said that most sales are going to be done in the future, in between 3 to 5 years. All sales will be done over the phone. They're not going to be done face to face anymore.
You
So
see?
by you doing that innovation already, you're a step
That
ahead.
helped me because I know that there's a lot of people, and if you're a business owner, you really want to get yourself out there and start posting. I know that it could be a little bit annoying sometimes when you guys see my posts all the time, but I'm doing it for a reason. I know a lot of companies that are very successful. Their storefronts, they have been in business for a long time, but their social media sucks.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen when, these stores, or when people don't go in, because everybody has a phone now, right? Everybody has access to an email, so everything's DocuSign. What's going to happen when nobody knows really who you are, on social media? So that's a really good tip, to start getting in there and start posting more.
See, and then for me, we're talking about mentors. I have Hernandez. He just hit me up and says, El Presidente. I've known Hernan for many years. I've known him for different relationships, but he's the one that actually said, you got to do your podcast. He's the one that told me
really?
about.
He's the one
Yeah,
that
he's the one.
you.
Yeah, he's the one that, we talked about it last year, and then he's like, dude, I had a vision of how I wanted to do it. We're supposed to do an interview at my buddy's restaurant and drinking and eating, right? I love eating. I haven't posted any food pics lately because I can't go out and eat, right? But I love eating. I love the finer things in life. So I had this whole idea, and Hernan was like, dude, you just got to do it, man. You just need to share your wisdom and get out there and do it. And it was like 3 weeks ago, we set this up. He helped me set up the StreamYard. He gave me some pointers on what I had to do. And then boom, I was like, I'm going to give it like the middle of February. And I'm like, you know what? Nah, we're doing this today. So big ups to Hernan. If you know Business Bros and Hernan, he hooked me up with that. I appreciate it. My wife, on the other hand, she says, yeah, no, you are too much. She doesn't like my attitude, I guess, or something. I get it. She's stuck with me 24/7. So she's stuck at the house too. So it makes it worse for her. But ni modo. Así la quería. She said yes. She said yes to the ring. So that's a chingo. So now, we talked about this, earlier. We touched on it. How do you find your balance? I mean, you have 2 offices. How many employees do you have right now, including yourself?
7.
7 employees. So you have 7 employees. You have 2 offices. You oversee pretty much everything, right? Because you're still growing, and you're still, like you said personally, you're good. You're starting to pass on the reins to certain people to do certain things, right?
Right.
But how do you find your balance? Like, because you just said it, you working, on days off and all that other stuff. How do you do that?
Well, I try, whenever I do have some time off, I try to, I like to cook, just like you. I like to, when I cook, it como que me relaja un poquito. Not washing dishes, just cooking.
I don't wash dishes. I don't wash dishes at all.
No, I hate the cleaning part. I love to cook.
I just don't like the mixing of the food. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like,
madre, la grasa everywhere. Yeah, so I love to cook. That kind of like relaxes me. That, obviously, getting massages here and there, and traveling. That's what I do to kind of like relajarme.
And then this is my daughter says, no one likes your attitude. Yeah, right.
My
Shut
God.
up, little girl. You as Mac as you 15 and you get pissed at everything. You can shut up. So that's pretty much what it is. Huh?
I was like,
yeah, I know, right? She don't see that. She just sees the person that yells at her for other stuff. Yeah, like, you need to do this, you need to do that, you didn't do your homework, you need to go water the plants. I'm just trying to teach her responsibilities. Jeez, these kids in this day and age right now, they don't know anything.
I told my son, because this is my son's room, and this is where I kind of record sometimes. I'm like, dude, since the morning, clean up the damn thing, because I'm gonna record. Dude, llegué a los 5 minutes, quitó las cosas, and they're right here. I'm like, oh my God.
You just made it to where you can like, okay, you can step over my dirty clothes. And that's just kids nowadays, they got to learn. And I think this is one of the reasons we did this podcast also, is because I wanted to show my kids, different sides of business, right? As a parent, I'm a son. I'm a husband, I'm a parent, but my biggest responsibility is a parent, right?
Right.
And you know, everything else, CEO, boss, whatever you want to call it, all these other titles that I put. And as you can see today, I'm a presidente. Last week I was, what was it? I forgot what last week, at Chapo of Life Insurance. A week before
Yeah.
that, I was El Jefe. So next week I will come up with something new. But I have
Who
all
are you
these
having
titles.
next week?
Next week, I actually I have a good friend, my friend Polly. She'll be on. I went to high school with her. We're gonna be talking about we literally grew up like 5 houses away from each other, and she works in the health industry. She's like
Oh,
one. She
nice.
works for one of the bigger wholesalers in the health side, and then I do the wholesale and the life. And we're gonna talk about the 3 B's. You know, business, basketball, because she's a basketball player, and her wife's a professional basketball player, and her
Nice.
bae, you know, her boo.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a good one because it's going to be interesting because Polly and I had to go way back, so it'll be a fun one.
Nice.
Um, but this is one of the reasons, you know, we want to share and showcase these things so that other people can learn, especially my kids, right? They see other struggles, they just don't see me, right? Like I tell these to people all the time. Like I feel sorry for her. My daughter marries, right? Because she's so used to the finer things in life, the things
Yeah.
that I can afford
My
to
son
give her.
too.
And you know, like I'm like, girls, you're
Getting these
crazy.
damn freaking AirPods. He just lost
Yeah.
one. Now I have to get him another. They have it so easy, dude. When I was growing up, shit, I got my ass whipping a couple
Oh,
of
you want to
times.
hear? So this is the funny story. So my daughter she comes home from kindergarten, right? And she's like, "Hey, Dad, can I Skype with my friend?" I said, "No, you cannot Skype with your friend." She's like, "Why not? Did my Lito not let you Skype when you were my age?" I'm like, "Little girl, when I was your age, we still had microfiche. You know, you go to the library, you look at a little thing, you look at stuff like we didn't have the internet, girl. Calm down. We're gonna have to go research on the books, you know." So
Yeah,
these
they have it
kids
so easy right now,
no saben lo
honestly.
que tienen, no saben
No,
lo que
no
tienen.
saben.
Yeah. So here's last question for the day because I know we try to keep these at 30 minutes. I know you're tired, you're a busy boss lady. What's the next step for you? You know, for you and your team. What's the next? I know you said you want another office, but what is I know you just added Western Union, right? You're going to be
Yes.
transferring money, so that's a
This
that's a
year, that's another thing. I want to start innovating and having other things in my office because the office that I just opened in Montclair, it's my very first storefront. It's really big. So in order for me to have auto clients and all that stuff, we're right next to a Culichi town. You know those restaurants?
yeah.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, we're gonna start offering Western Union. Hopefully this year I get my tax license, like I told you. And what else? I also am doing immigration forms. So all that stuff, teaching some of my agents to process different things like that. And yeah, little by little, opening up another office. I don't want more than 3, honestly. It's way too much work.
Yeah.
And if I want to make sure things are they're being done right, I have to be there and supervise, especially in different cities. You know how the traffic is. So
Oh yeah, especially where
yeah,
you guys are at, it sucks. Well, and
yeah,
that's one thing, and that's a good thing because I know for our agency, right, the wholesale firm, we have 6,000 agents contracted through our agency, so that's a lot to keep up with, right? And we
yeah,
have a big staff, we have a big overhead, we spend a lot of money on technology, traveling, all this blah blah blah. It just adds up, right? And sometimes I wish it went. I'm not gonna lie. There's times where I wish it was just me again producing
yeah,
and I had no agents and it was just back to it. But I will tell you, and this is the reason why I actually went more into the corporate side of the production side than the personal production. I still produce, and like you, I have clients all over the United States that I've never even seen. I sold 2 life insurance policies today over the phone. Never even met these clients. One's in Texas. Actually, both of them are in Texas. I will never go to their part of Texas ever. And if I
hmm
do, I'm never gonna be like, hey, let me knock on your door in Katy, Texas. I'm never gonna do that. But it's the when I looked at my business, right, I said, look, I can help 200 families a year, right? But that's about what I'm willing to do for work wise. But if I can teach 60, 80, 100 agents to do 50% of what I can do, how many more families am I going to be able to touch? And that was my
right,
motivation. That was my aha moment. Like, oh, wait,
hmm
that was my moment where I was like, okay, I have to teach this. But it is very stressful, and that's one thing that like I said earlier, the vision that you have of not trying to overexpand yourself, not watering down the brand, it's a branding thing, right? I tell everyone you have to look at yourself as a brand, and the one thing that I see, and I kudos to you on this, is that you do not water down your brand. You're 100% invested in what you're doing, and I wish more companies were out there doing what you're doing in that same way, where they're not trying to conquer the world in one day. They're not trying to build it in one day.
It
They're
takes
saying,
time.
hey, it takes time. They're not getting frustrated. They're not trying to make the easy buck. They're really just making sure the clients are taken care of. Because like I said earlier, sales are going to go online. the customer service. You can't be a salesperson anymore. You have to be an advisor, and you're advising your clients by saying, this is what you need to do, because if you don't do it, you're going to get fined because of XYZ, because of the trucker permits and all these other things they have to do. So that's important, right? So like I said, looking from the outside in, I think I wish more companies that were starting up, or even bigger companies, would actually focus on just little things and then just make that great. And like I said, I do appreciate your time. So that pretty much wraps up our interview today. Nancy, do you have any you want to share your contact information so if anyone has any questions?
Yeah, if you guys want to follow me on Instagram, you guys could find me as Nancy's Insurance. And like I said, my niche is just helping people start their own business, not just truckers. I just help somebody. They're doing like flips, investments, and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a group of people, like 6 agents that wanted to do that. So I just closed like 6 LLCs last week.
Oh, wow.
So from there, from like restaurant owners, dealerships, everything. I pretty much do it all. So
any business you want to start off with, we know in the United States, DBA or anything. In the United States, you have to be, it can't be like when you're in the rancho and you start off a company and start doing stuff. In the United States, you have to have
legit, especially with those
legit
PPP loans. Whoever wants to get a loan, all that stuff, you need a legit business or a DBA.
Correct. So you need to be legit. So if you want to be legit, you want to get your stuff taken care of, reach out to Nancy Insurance. You can find her on Instagram. You can see her on her TikToks. You can see her on Facebook. She's always posting stuff, and they're always fun. I learned something. I mean, I don't deal with the trucking industry as much, because I have trucker clients, but I'm not in it all the time. And I always learn something from those videos. So keep them up, because we know studies have shown that it takes sometimes 3 or 4 times for them to see something, for something to click in their head, right?
Yeah.
Some clients click in their head. So hopefully those videos will eventually get more clients. So like I said, I do appreciate everyone's your time. I appreciate everyone chiming in with the comments. Thank you. If you want to follow us, if you want to see this again or listen to it later, you can go on YouTube and subscribe to As Saul Sees It. We're also on Spotify. We're on a bunch of other platforms, but those are the 2 ones that I really think they're going to be the easiest for you guys to get on. And thank you, Nancy, and your time. I know it's precious, so I appreciate that. And if you have any questions or you want to reach out to Nancy, you can always DM me and I'll shoot your information over there. And please don't forget, we're always live on Tuesdays at 5. Next week, I will have my good friend Polly with us, and we will be talking about the 3 B's: business, basketball, and her base. So tune in next week. Is going to be a good one. And thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nancy, for your time. And I hope everyone enjoys the
rest. And you know that. Thank you so much. That's why I'm comfortable doing the live with you.
Yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. Nancy was really nervous earlier, so we did an amazing job. So you know what? Kudos to you, Nancy. And like I said earlier, we said this: you have to get out of your element to succeed.
Yeah,
and this is something that you and I have discussed, that it's something you have to get out of. So you did a good job. Thank you, everyone. Take care, and we'll talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.